Maybe she came in illegally, maybe. Let me tell you one thing. She has got it so documented, so she's going to have a little news conference over the next couple of weeks. That's good. That's good. I love it. I love it. They said, Melania Trump may have come into our country illegally, and how would that be for Donald Trump to be talking? Here's the only problem. She came in totally legally. I mean, you know, so that's what I'm going to say. All right, but you'll see it in a little while. I said to her, no, let it simmer for a little while. Let them go wild. Let it simmer.
Well, surprise, surprise, that never happened, and just another lie by Donald Trump, and legacy media just let him get away with it and didn't investigate further. But we will hear at the MeidasTouch network, even if it is several years later, because a new photo has surfaced that is raising a lot of interesting questions. And it is a photo at Mar-A-Lago of Donald Trump and an individual by the name of Paolo Zampoli. There's the photo right there. Melania Trump was nowhere to be seen at this New Year's party, but that's not that interesting because Melania Trump's been missing from all of these events at Mar-A-Lago, and she's almost never by Donald Trump's side anymore, and we've done a lot of videos on Melania's gone missing. But who's this Paolo Zampoli character, and how does it relate to Melania Trump? Well, here's the New York Times article. When Donald met Melania, Paolo was there. So who is Paolo Zampoli? He is an immigrant to the United States of America, and in the mid-1990s, he started a so-called modeling agency, and he would invite these models from foreign countries who he would hire to these parties in Manhattan at places like the Kit Kat Club, where wealthy businessmen from Manhattan would show up and meet these models who came from foreign countries. And one such model was Melania Trump. That's how Donald Trump met Melania. Paolo was the one who introduced Melania, who was a model at his agency, to Donald Trump at the Kit Kat Club in 1998. And after Donald Trump and Melania met, her visa paperwork was fast-tracked, and I guess you can say the rest is history, or is it? I want to show you this clip right here. This is an interview that Melania did on Fox several years ago. Here, play this clip.
The facts are that I always obey the law. I have all the documents. I have very clean past. I would never stay here on the as undocumented.
Very, very interesting. And what about this interview where Melania is speaking to Joy Behar? And in this interview, Melania is attacking President Obama. She's spreading the birther lies. And listen to what she says about herself, though, and her own paperwork. Here, play this clip.
But what is this with the birth certificate obsession? Did he ask to see yours when you met him?
I needed to put mine anyway, because if you want to become an American citizen, you need to put the birth certificate.
Right.
I have a birth certificate from Slovenia. And do you want to see President Obama birth certificate or not?
I've seen it.
It's not a birth certificate.
Well, it's a certificate of live birth,
right,
which they get. But Melania, if he insists on what he's saying, then no one in Hawaii can ever run for president, because they all get the same live birth certificate.
Well, but they need to have...
Midler is finished, for example.
They need to have, and in one way, it will be very easy if President Obama just show it. And because it's not only Donald who wants to see it, it's American people who voted for him and who didn't vote for him. They want to see that.
But it's on display in Chicago. We've seen it on the internet. We've seen it. It's not the same as yours, but it's a certificate of live birth.
Well, we feel it's different than birth certificate.
All right. Well, I think you should give it up at this point.
Well, it's not. It's not him that it's bringing up. It's the media all the time.
And one of the things here, part of the bigger story at play here, is the hypocrisy, the cruelty. There's a lot of questions being raised about whether Melania's paperwork satisfied the appropriate conditions, and I'll go through some of these questions just in a little bit right here. But here she is, just exuding a massive amount of cruelty to immigrants. This is when Donald Trump was disgracing the White House, and she gave a speech and started saying very cruel things about immigrants. Here, play this clip.
Of course. Thank you, first of all, to have me here, and want to thank you for all your hard work that you do. And I know how dangerous and difficult your daily jobs are, so I really appreciate all you do on the behalf of the country. And I'm looking forward for our discussion and to tour the facility. And I'm here to support you and give my help, whatever I can, for behalf of children and the families. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Then, of course, in Melania Trump's F Christmas tirade that she was recorded on to Winston Walkoff, I'll play this clip. Again, the cruelty to immigrants here is so palpable. Here, play this clip.
They say I'm complicit. I'm the same like him. I support him. I don't say enough. I don't do enough.
No,
where I am, I'm working like a my ass off.
I know.
That Christmas stuff that, who gives a about Christmas stuff and decoration, but I need to do it, right?
Yeah, but 100%. You have no choice.
And then I do it, and I say that I'm working on Christmas, planning for the Christmas, and they said, oh, what about the children that they were separated? Give me a break. Where they were saying anything when Obama did that?
I know.
I cannot go. I was trying to get the kid reunited with the mom. I didn't have a chance. Needs to go through the process and through the law.
But here's my thing. Hear what you just said. But instead of that, if your messaging, you were so loved.
They would not do the story. We put it out. They would not do the story.
I'm telling you.
You would not believe it. They would not do the story because they would not do the story because they are against us because they're liberal media. Yeah, if I go to Fox, they will do the story. I don't want to go to Fox.
And so while Melania Trump attacks immigrants, while Donald Trump said that she was going to make all of her paperwork public and all of that, well, it never really happened. But this is December 15th. The last time we saw Melania in public, not with Donald Trump, but she gave a speech for reasons that are unclear why she was even invited to do this in Washington, D.C., to a group of new citizens. And she talked about her process and how lawyers helped her expedite this process and make it very quick and easy for her. Here, play this clip.
And then, of course, there are nuances of understanding the United States immigration laws and the complex legal language contained therein. I was very devoted, but I certainly was not an attorney. And eventually, it proved critical for me to retain counsel. I was fortunate to do so, as ultimately my journey was streamlined and brought me over the finish line as a naturalized citizen. While challenges were numerous, the rewards were well worth effort.
Okay, so that goes back to the photo of Paolo Zampoli, who brought Melania over as part of this modeling agency where she attended this party, met Donald Trump, and then, as far as we know, got a genius visa. That's right, a genius visa. That's something that's given to Nobel Prize laureates. That's something given to people who satisfy a very strict set of criteria. So what was on Melania's application, and how was this fast-tracked in a way for her to get the genius visa, to cut the line, to go through this process that lots of other people don't have? And how was Zampoli's role in this modeling agency with the parties that were held at the Kit Kat Club? How did this all kind of work hand in glove? So there was a series of questions that this think tank asked, and I want to ask those questions right now because they don't seem to have any good answers at all. So let me take a look at these questions. Let's pull them up right now. Here they are. And these questions were submitted on in 2016 in August by Simon Rosenberg. Questions about Melania's immigration path, which still need answers. By the way, they still need answers to this day. Now that Donald Trump has promised to address the question of whether Melania Trump broke immigration laws when she emigrated to the United States in the mid-1990s and in the process of gaining her citizenship, there are at least 4 questions that need to be answered directly by the Trump campaign in the coming days. Work visas. What work visas did Mrs. Trump have in the years before she received her green card in 2001? Can you produce them and their applications for the public to see? Green card. Can you explain how Mrs. Trump received her green card in 2001? Was it based on an employer or family sponsor? If employment related, who was the sponsor? Was it through marriage, as was reported on August 5th? Did Mrs. Trump get her green card by other means? Can you produce the green card petitions and applications? Purpose of early travel to the U.S. Can Mrs. Trump provide the date and purpose of each of her visits to the United States prior to moving here in 1996? Did she work even for free during any of these visits? We know she was here in 1995, and an associate from those days, Paolo Zampoli, has said on the record that she was living here before receiving a work visa in 1996. As you are aware, the United States government has a record of every trip she made in and out of the U.S. prior to her receiving a green card, so it would help all of us understand her complete immigration story by providing this information that is already known by immigration authorities in the U.S. Lying to immigration authorities. Did Mrs. Trump represent that she had a college degree in her application for work visas and green card? As you know, having a college degree could have been determinant in her receiving a visa or green card. Now that we know she has embellished her biography and only finished a semester or 2 of college, this seems relevant. Lying on immigration applications is a serious crime in the United States, and the public has a right to know if our future First Lady committed immigration fraud in the process of obtaining her citizenship. Of course, the easiest way to put all of this to bed is for Melania Trump to release her entire immigration file, or for her to authorize the United States government to do so on her behalf. Given that we are all talking about serious crimes and immigration violations here, serial fraud, felonies, and possible loss of citizenship for Mrs. Trump, the Trump campaign needs to be as transparent as possible in the days ahead. Just releasing any work visas she had in the 1990s and her green card application and card itself would have largely put this story to bed by now. The failure to release these documents already suggests the Trump campaign is struggling to reconcile what actually happened with a public story that is already proven to be fabricated. Donald Trump has put the maximum punishment for those who violate American immigration laws at the center of his campaign. Given this, there is an urgency for the Trump campaign to resolve the very real issues raised by Melania Trump's statements about her immigration path into the U.S., and for Mr. Trump to demonstrate to the tens of millions of immigrants he has denigrated that the rule of law applies not just to them, but to him and his own family too. Additionally, if the Trump campaign doesn't make a serious effort to explain the discrepancies reported by Politico, Bloomberg, The Washington Post, and Univision, leading lawmakers should call upon the Department of Justice and the Department of Homeland Security to begin a formal investigation into Melania Trump and her problematic arrival story. So there you have it right there. And then in terms of the Genius visa, remember when Melania just straight up ripped and plagiarized the exact convention speech of Michelle Obama, like word for word? Remember this? Play this clip.
The values that you work hard for what you want in life.
For what you want in life.
That your word is your
bond. That you do what you say you're going to do.
Keep your promise.
That you treat people.
That you treat people
with dignity and respect. Because we want our children and all children in this nation to know that the only limit to the height of your achievements is the reach of your dreams and your willingness to work hard for them.
So, folks, this story is less about Melania to me, and more about the hypocrisy, the constant gaslighting, the cruelty of Donald Trump, the family, how they behave, most of them, and the whole Republican Party, and their lack of any self-reflection on, or their refusal to do such and be critical in any way when there is glaring red flags like this. I mean, could you imagine just for a moment if this was Dr. Jill Biden? Could you imagine if just for a moment this was Michelle Obama? Could you imagine just for a moment if this was Hillary Clinton? Oh, wait, we can't imagine because we know exactly what they do there each and every time. And imagine if we had individuals who were not, who had all of these questions that I raised. So tell me what you think in the comments. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers. Thanks to your support. Have a good one.
Thanks so much for watching. We're only a few subscribers short of 2 million subs. Please subscribe right now to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel for free and help us grow this unapologetically pro-democracy network.